What's going on, guys? I am Toxic Jordan. Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be doing a little team building guide for the Artificial Lifeforms Super Battle Road stage that is about to release here on Global. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the Artificial Lifeforms category for this one. This is going to feel pretty similar to the Power Absorption Super Battle Road stage that we got just a few months ago. There's a lot of similar characters on Artificial Lifeforms and Power Absorption, so you're going to be able to build some very similar teams there. There have been some very recent additions to the Power Absorption, or excuse me, to the Artificial Lifeforms team that are really, really powerful. So that is it's gonna be interesting to see how hard this stage is when it comes out, because we've got the Gamma 1 and 2s obviously that are here, and the Physical Metal Cooler, as well as the AGL Metal Cooler just got its EZA and stuff. So yeah, we will see what we're in for. I imagine that the stage is going to be quite difficult to take down. So starting out here, we have Gamma 1. He's going to be one of the best leaders because he's got 170% leader skill to Artificial Lifeforms, and then the additional 200% leader skill to Accelerated Battle and Worthy Rivals. Obviously, this guy is absolutely insane. He is going to be tanking everything and hitting super hard. Definitely one of the best units that you can use on the team. And he has a great chance to evade unarmed super attacks and counter. And I imagine that there are going to be some unarmed super attacks in here, because if we take a look at the units that we're fighting against, they're just like, these units are from a Dragon Ball movie, and these units are from a GT movie, and then these guys are from Dragon Ball Super. So I imagine a lot of these random enemies that are like lower tier are not going to be shooting out ki blasts and stuff. They're probably just going to be punching and kicking. So those are going to be unarmed super attacks. So I imagine Gamma 1 is going to be very, very solid defensively in this stage. So yeah, definitely a good option to have him on your team. And then you're definitely going to want to bring Gamma 2 if you have him as well. He is going to, again, be just as effective as the Gamma 1 here. The only portion of his kit that's going to be a little bit different here is the nullifying ki blast supers rather than countering unarmed super attacks. So in stage 2 he's probably going to do well, because I think that the all the wolves here, they do ki blast super attacks, so he will be doing very well against those. So then next up we have the Int Perfect Cell here. First I want to mention that this entire list of characters is kind of mixed up. They aren't in any particular order, they're just kind of in here, so keep that in mind as we go through. And then at the end I will be sharing some team builds that I've put together to beat the event as well. So if you want to just see the team builds, then feel free to skip ahead to that. So we've got the Int LR Cell here. He is always a good Super Battle Road unit, mainly because of his condition, evolving when HP is 30% or less. That is a really, really solid condition for him to have, because when he evolves into the Perfect Cell, he gives you a full HP recovery. So it's essentially an additional healing item that you have access to, and you can do this once per fight. So there's going to be 3 fights throughout the battle. You could essentially get this off 3 separate times, and make use of that. So that can be really, really solid for you. Okay, so then we have the Physical Metal Cooler. He could be a potential leader for you if you wanted to run all Wicked Bloodline units. Unfortunately, the only Wicked Bloodline units that are on Artificial Lifeforms are Metal Coolers, so you'd have to build an entire Metal Cooler team, but with all those free-to-play cards around that just got their EZAs, that's not the hardest thing to do. So this guy could definitely be a solid option for you. He's a great attacker, and he does pretty solid defensively as well. And then you have to remember that this guy has his revive. So he just has an infinite revive that's always there until you use it. So if you have one of each of him on opposite rotations, then he is going to be looking absolutely solid for you. Definitely will be a very strong unit. Even if you're not using him as a leader, you definitely want to have him on the team. Then we've got the Physical LR Cell here. He is going to be a pretty solid unit. Very nice that on his 12 key super, he has an AoE super attack, which is always good for Super Battle Road stages. And then he's getting a little bit of HP recovery there as well. He also gets some additional attack per existing enemy, so when you're facing more than one enemy, he's going to be putting out quite a bit of attack there. And then if you're on at a place in the battle where you're only facing one enemy, then he's getting a lot more defense, which is very nice. So yeah, this guy is going to be pretty solid. Okay, then we've got the powerhouse AGL cell. This man was built to destroy Super Battle Road. He is going to be doing amazing when you're facing multiple enemies. He's got crit chance and evasion chance built into his passive. All kinds of different little goodies here. He's going to be consistently raising his attack and defense for you throughout the fight as he gets his transformations. This guy is just absolutely a force to be reckoned with in Super Battle Road. Definitely one of the best, and you absolutely can use him as a leader too. There are a lot of units, like I said, on the power absorption category that are also on the artificial lifeforms category, so you can definitely make a full team with him as the leader, and then run two of him because you'd have the friend lead as well. Okay, so then we've got the Majin Buu Piccolo here. This guy is going to be really solid because he's got the high chance to stun and the medium chance to evade. That's a great combination. That's going to be, making him a pretty solid slot 3 unit to have there. And then he is also providing some power absorption, attack and defense support, which is great because a lot of these units are on power absorption. And then he is another one of those units that has the HP recovery at the start of turn. And you'll notice if you most of the units or all of the units on your team have these HP recovery abilities, they're going to make such a huge difference, especially with the physical LR Metal Cooler, who is an amazing healer. He's going to be healing hundreds of thousands of damage for you throughout the fight, along with some of this other chip healing that you're going to be getting on Super Attacker in their passive skills. You could end up saving yourself a lot of trouble just healing back all the HP that you are getting hit with. Okay, so then we've got the Shape Up Majin Buu here. He is good for the exact same reasons as the last card. He's got this medium chance of stunning and the high chance of evading for 7 turns, which is perfectly fine because in Super Battle Road the fight never goes longer than 7 turns, so you will definitely be okay there. And then he's got pretty good start of turn stats, so he is a decent unit that can tank for you. 300% attack and defense is pretty good there. Next up we have Baby Janemba. This guy I am excited to use in this stage. Very, very fun unit. Again, another HP recovery unit here, pretty solid. And then he's got a high chance of evading, and his evasion chance goes up by 12% with each attack evaded. So as long as he evades the first attack, then he's going to be up to a 62% chance, 74, 86, and so on. So he just gets better and better at evading as he does it. Obviously this resets every single turn, but he is still pretty reliable. Starting out at the 50% chance to evade there, that is definitely not bad. And then he's giving himself some additional attack and defense when performing super attack if your HP is high. So he can put out some decent damage for you as well. Definitely a very solid unit for this stage, indeed. Okay, and then we've got the AGL Metal Cooler here. After his Easy A, he's going to be pretty solid. Downside of this guy is that he gets his stats built up in his passive per attack received. He needs to receive 5 attacks in order to get the full attack and defense boost that he can get here. So that is a little bit of a downside for him. He is not going to be the best unit to use here, just because at each of the fights that you start in, he's going to have to rebuild up his passive, so he can be a little bit of a liability for you before he gets those things built up. But he is going to be lowering the enemy's attack and defense on Super, so that's going to be helpful for you. Unfortunately, there isn't going to be Super class enemies for you, so he won't get this crit chance in his passive. And then he won't get this additional crit chance here for a Pure Saiyans category enemy. That's not going to be happening either, but he will get this HP recovery, which is nice. And then also, when your HP goes below 50%, he's going to get his little Cooler Core Rage Mode thing, which could be very helpful for you as well. So that is another thing that you could fall back on. That can help you certainly in a Super Battle Road stage. So yeah, definitely not the best, most cohesive unit, but still one of the stronger units on the category, so worth mentioning for sure. Okay, so then this guy is in the same kind of position, the AGL Super 17 here. He is going to be a pretty solid defensive unit, but only once he gets hit a few times, because he has to get hit 5 times here to build up the extra 30% damage reduction. That's going to give him a total of 70% there. So he has to receive all those attacks first. Before he receives those attacks, he's going to be a little bit of a defensive liability for you. But once he's received all those attacks, he has 70% damage reduction, and then he gets off this great attack and defense raise, and then gets hit with attacks. He is going to be tanking everything. So he'll be a very, very reliable unit for you turn 3-4. So yeah, just keep in mind that out the gate, he is going to be a bit of a tragedy. Alright, now this guy is really solid. The Int Android 16. Super solid, super strike unit that just got his easy A. So, he is going to be getting some additional defense if you're facing 2 or less enemies, which you'll be doing quite a bit because there's no like 5 enemy fights here. You're going to be down to 2 enemies quite a bit. But then he's got a high chance of guarding all attacks when all allies in the turn are Android Cell Saga characters. So if you are running him on that Cell team and you have a lot of other Cell units and stuff alongside him, then you could end up proccing this portion of his ability, which I think is important because he also reduces damage received by 60% when guard is active. So the name of the game is to get guard active on this guy, for sure. So there's 3 ways to do that. The first way is to have all Android Cell Saga characters on the rotation with him. You are facing 3 or more enemies, or if he gets attacked by a Tech type unit, because he's Int type. So anytime you get attacked by a unit that has type disadvantage against you, then it counts as guard. So if you make any of those 3 scenarios happen, then he's going to be reducing damage received by 60%, which is going to make him tank amazingly, especially after super attack because he raises his defense on super. So keep in mind that for this Super Battle Road stage, in the first fight, you're not even facing 3 enemies. So unless, and there's no tech enemy either. So unless you have all units that are Android Cell Saga on the same turn as him, he won't be able to get his guard off in the first turn. But in the second and third fights, he can because there's 3 or more enemies, and there is a tech type enemy that you can put him in the way of the attacks of. Where were we at here? There we go. Okay, so moving on, we have the Bobbity Boo here. He's going to be a decent unit. I think I overestimated his abilities. I did actually use him in the power absorption stage of Super Battle Road, and he was getting hit quite hard. So I imagine that he is not going to have what it takes to sponge hits in this stage. However, he does greatly raise his defense, so that is something helpful to note. And he's got this high chance of stunning as well, which is a really, really solid thing. So between the high chance of stunning and the fact that he gets these buffs to your allies, that's going to be really, really helpful. So when your HP is high, he's giving a lot of attack and a little bit of defense. And then when your HP is low, he is giving a lot of defense and a little bit of attack to the enemy, or to all of your allies as well. And then he's got a little bit of HP recovery, so he is another one of those units. Very, very nice. Oh, and another thing I didn't mention is that a lot of these units are going to have Metamorphosis. Metamorphosis is a really solid link for healing as well. So yeah, he is one of those units. Okay, so we've got the STR Dokkan Fest Kid Buu here. He is a good honorable mention. He's got a great chance of nullifying unarmed super attacks, so that is going to be the main draw with this unit. I think, like I mentioned before, there are going to be a lot of unarmed super attacks coming at you, so he could be a really, really solid option for them. And he's got this medium chance of stunning, and then these additionals built into his passive, so if you end up doing 2 or 3 super attacks in the turn, your chances of stunning your enemy are decent there, and then he's going to be able to tank decently with the defense raises on super as well. Especially once you're able to build up this full passive here and get all his stats active there, then he is going to be pretty solid. And then he is giving some HP recovery as well, so definitely not bad. Okay, so this is a cheeky one here that I've included. The rest of these units here are going to be like GT bosses units. I think you could make a decent GT bosses build if you're lacking a lot of these other characters. I think there's a chance that GT bosses could take this down. So this guy just got his easy a few celebrations back during the Dokkan Fest Pan celebration. He is a really good GT bosses support unit. So if you're running a full GT bosses team, then he's going to be getting all these additional stats, which is going to help him out greatly. He's going to need that. He lowers the enemy's attack on super, and then he, let's see here. Okay, so he's getting an additional, some additional attack if you're facing only one enemy. So I guess that's nice if you're down to the wire at the end of the battle. And then he is also providing some attack support for all the GT bosses on your team. So he could be a decent option there. So another great GT bosses unit that we've got here is the Metarildo. This guy is a defensive monster. So he gets a great defense raise on super. He's got defense at the start of turn. And then he's providing additional 40% defense to all GT bosses, which includes himself. And then he's not going to be getting this portion of his passive because there aren't GT Heroes category enemies. So we don't really need to worry about anything there, which does bring him down a peg. But I think he is still going to be a decent defensive option for you. And then he's getting a little bit of HP recovery as well as having Metamorphosis. Alright, and then we've got the Tech Super 17 here. Probably not going to be as good defensively as the AGL Super 17, but in Super Battle Road you can use them both on the same team if you choose. So this guy is going to be pretty well-rounded. Decent amount of attack going out, decent amount of defense for you. He's got some damage reduction in there, and a little bit of support as well in his passive. So definitely not the worst. He is going to do better when you have more Android category characters in the same turn as him. So you are going to want to try and use him with some other androids. Though if you're running him on a GT bosses build, the only other android that you're going to be able to use with him is the AGL Super 17, who you probably would want on the opposite rotation. So it could be a little bit weird using this guy. Alright, and then last but certainly not least, we have the baby youth form here. So this guy is actually just an SSR. He doesn't even Dokkan Awaken or anything, but he is still pretty formidable. His defense is pretty solid. So the only thing to note here is that he might lack a little bit because you don't have a pure or hybrid Saiyan category enemy. That allows him to get this additional here, which is very, very nice because he gets the additional attack and defense 100% plus the additional defense raise on super. And if he's able to get 3 super attacks in one turn because of the additional here and then the hidden potential system additional, then he tanks everything. The additional defense he's getting here and here just stack up so much. So keep in mind that he's only going to be able to have 2 super attacks per turn if you have some hidden potential put on him, and then he's going to raise his defense a little bit, but for the most part he is going to suffer just a bit, though he does get 20% HP recovery at the end of the turn in which attack was received, so that is going to make up for that quite a bit. And he is another unit that lowers attack and has the Metamorphosis link, so lots of healing there. Okay, so those are all of the units that I recommend you use. Now, that was a chaotic mess of different kinds of units that fit on different team builds, so let's go ahead and switch over to in-game, and I'll show you guys some of the teams that I put together that I plan on trying out this Super Battle Road stage with. Alright, so we've got the full Metacooler build here. So we're using the physical Metacooler with the 200% Wicked Bloodline leader skill here. So this is going to be a full 200% team, which is going to be a very, very helpful point here. And then we've got the AGL Dokkan Fest Metacooler, and then the rest are all the free-to-play Metacooler cards as well, who are going to be helping out with some support, some dodging, some defense building of their own. Could be a decent build. I'm curious to see if this one has what it takes to take down this stage for sure. So then this is the GT Bosses build that I was referring to. This is pretty much all of the usable GT Bosses cards. There's not really a single other card that's like good enough to go into this event, I think. So this could be a bit of a dicey one, but between all of the healing and damage reduction and stuff like that, maybe this could get it done. Maybe, depending how difficult the stage is. So this is an example of a team you could use where you have Cell as your leader. There are certainly some different options that you could use here. Quite a few different Cell cards and Boo cards that can be rotated out if you don't have access to all of the units that I've got here. But I think this is probably the best possible case scenario, give or take one unit, 1 or 2 units that could be for this Cell build. And then I believe, last but not least here, we've got the Gamma 1 build. Actually, there's one more build after this. So we've got the Gamma 1 build, which is very, very nice. I think this is the team that I'm going to attempt to take this down with. This looks like overall the strongest team to me because you're going to have 2 Gamma 1s available, as well as Gamma 2 to link up with one of those Gamma 1s. And then you've got both of those metal coolers in there, the Cell and the Baby Janemba there, that are going to be just absolutely crushing it. So yeah, with the Gamma 1 here having Artificial Lifeforms as one of his leader skills, it's really solid because you can bring any of these Artificial Lifeforms cards onto this team, and you'll do just fine. And then on the contrary, if you wanted to use Gamma 2 as your leader for some reason, if you wanted to have a Gamma 2 friend leader rather than a Gamma 1 friend leader, then you could also run the category this way, because he's got the sub-leader skill for androids, and there are quite a few android cards that you can make an entire androids build that also fits on Artificial Lifeforms, obviously, considering androids are Artificial Lifeforms. So yeah, you can run it this way too, and just have a bunch of different Android cards that all go nuts for you. So yeah, quite a few builds, quite a few different ways to attempt to take this down. Hopefully, between everything I've showed you, you're able to make at least one of these builds and take the stage down for yourself. So let me know what team you guys plan to use in the comments below. I would love to know which of these seems like the most interesting team build to you. And if you have any other team builds that I didn't necessarily go over, let me know if there's something that I missed, maybe a different leader skill that you could use that I didn't think about here. So yeah, that is pretty much going to do it for this one. If you guys found this guide helpful, consider being a part of the Toxic Tribe with the like, comment, and subscribe on the video. We put out guides like this all the time, so there will be plenty more guides to look forward to in the future. And that is going to do it for this one. I will catch you guys next time. Peace.